The great day of the Lord, the great day of the Lord is coming. And it's a day of darkness and gloom and clouds and blackness. And we think that's like, oh, it's terrifying, and it is, but doesn't this sound familiar? It should. It's reminiscent of God descending upon Sinai with thunder and fire and cloud cover when he gives the covenant to Moses in full blazing holiness and power. And it's also a subtle jab at Baal's supposed dominion over the atmosphere, right? It's God. Yahweh rules the clouds. God rules the thunder. And on that grand final day, he'll arrive as he did at Sinai, except it will just be so much more intense. Like these locusts, God's justice will sweep like a heavenly army, like locusts across creation. Sin will be purged, stripped completely from creation. There will be no walls. There will be no weapons that can stand against this, because it is the unstoppable justice of the sovereign, almighty judge God. This is truly, in chapter 2, is prophetic brilliance. Joel leaves this kind of day of the Lord concept open-ended, general, for a reason, because we live in the details, right? This allows for us to see that there have been hundreds of thousands of smaller kind of day of the Lords. It's hard to pluralize there, like the Assyrian and Babylonian captivity and invasions, right? We see these small scale events as living parables, right? Like the locust plague. Each one of them is like it's a little microcosm that points to the final, full, great, and terrible day of the Lord when he judges the cosmos in equity and righteousness. And as we saw in Hosea, God's judgment is never about just pure annihilationism, reactionism, bursting out in anger like Baal would do. It's always meant to refine and to discipline and ultimately lead to salvation. And so in Joel 2:12 through 14, God is calling his people again. He says, return to me with all your heart. Don't just give me empty words. Don't just tear your garments in some sort of like public display of grief as if that's all I want, right? No, don't give me that. We had that famous verse here, rend your hearts, not your garments. Are you truly broken over your sin and your rebellion against me? God then declares in verse 13 of chapter 2, return to the Lord your God, gracious, merciful, slow to anger, abounding in steadfast love. He's proclaiming his name over his people again, calling them to be one flesh with him.